Welcome to the deep dive. This is where we take a single topic and your source material, you, the listener, to really pull out the most interesting and, well, important information.
That's the plan. And today we're diving into the, let's say, highly debated world of Project Serpo.
Yeah, definitely debated. We're focusing on excerpts from Project Serpo Exchange Program, which lays out the alleged events of this, well, supposedly top secret initiative.
It's a fascinating account, to say the least.
So consider this your, express route to understanding the core of the Serpo narrative. We want to help you get informed without getting too bogged down in, endless speculation.
Exactly. We'll unpack the key claims from the source material and we'll try to make some sense of this extraordinary story.
Okay, so let's get into it. Project Serpo. Its origins are supposedly tied back to the mid-20th century, specifically those very famous reports of a crashed extraterrestrial craft in Roswell, New Mexico.
Right, the Roswell incident. But what's really interesting here, according to the source, is the assertion that this wasn't just about, picking up debris.
No.
No, these accounts suggest it actually led to a formal, ongoing relationship with alien beings. That's a huge leap beyond just, seeing a UFO fly by.
That is a massive leap. So not just observation, but actual contact, the beginning of it, according to this narrative.
Precisely.
And this contact purportedly paved the way for, well, the main event, Project Serpo. This alleged exchange program where 12 U.S. military personnel supposedly volunteered to go to the alien planet Serpo.
Yeah, and just thinking about that in terms of space exploration, I mean, this would be a monumental step, right? Unprecedented.
Totally.
The source material talks about really rigorous training and preparation for these individuals, skills focused on interplanetary travel, obviously, but also, crucially, communication. How do you talk to an alien species?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And this is where it gets even more, thought-provoking. The speculation around the technology involved. The Project Serpo Exchange Program source hints at a potential transfer of technology between humans and these extraterrestrials.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
I mean, the possibilities
Yeah.
that happen. It could fundamentally reshape fields we can't even properly imagine today.
Right.
It really raises fascinating questions about the scope of that kind of exchange. What exactly would be shared? The material suggests things like advanced propulsion, maybe new energy generation, communication.
Wow.
If even a fraction of that is accurate, the implications for us, for human civilization, they'd be immense. Think about the printing press or electricity. This could be even bigger.
Yeah, paradigm-shifting stuff. Okay, let's shift focus a bit from the hardware to humans involved. The alleged psychological impact on these 12 participants. That's something really significant to consider.
Definitely. Imagine spending years, literally years, on an alien world, immersed in a completely different society.
How could it not change you?
Exactly. What stands out in the reports is this profound shift in their worldview, interacting with a totally alien culture. Well, it would undoubtedly challenge your core beliefs about existence, about reality itself. And as the source notes, this has, big implications for researchers in psychology. How flexible is human perception? How adaptable are we?
It really forces you to reconsider our place in the universe, doesn't it? These accounts. They touch on really fundamental philosophical questions, like what are our responsibilities if we find out we're not alone? Big stuff.
Huge. And tied into all of this, a really persistent element in the Serpo story is government secrecy. It seems almost woven into the fabric of the whole alleged program.
Yeah, it's inescapable in the narrative.
Precisely. The source material consistently flags government secrecy as, a defining characteristic. And that inevitably has led to numerous whistleblower accounts, people claiming to be former officials, military personnel.
The insiders supposedly breaking ranks.
And while these accounts often lack, that definitive smoking gun proof, they absolutely continue to fuel the conspiracy theories surrounding the whole topic.
Oh, absolutely. Those theories are alive and well. The idea of a government knowingly dealing with alien life and hiding it, it's a powerful narrative, isn't it?
Very powerful.
The source also touches on the legal side of things. Accountability, oversight, the ethical questions of engaging with another species. It's a real legal puzzle box.
And that brings up a really important point about, what laws would even apply. Current international law. It doesn't really have paragraphs about dealing with extraterrestrials.
Right, it's uncharted territory.
Completely. Alleged programs like Serpo, they basically force us to invent entirely new legal concepts, new agreements.
Now, a topic this intriguing It's bound to get media attention. Documentaries, books, websites, forums. Serpo is definitely out there in popular culture.
It is, but that's kind of a double-edged sword, you know.
Mhm.
Well, the media can generate public interest, which is good. It can create a space for people to ask questions, but there's also a huge risk of sensationalism, blurring the lines between, like, well-supported claims and just pure fiction.
Absolutely. Sorting fact from speculation is a real challenge for anyone looking into this. And to really understand the Serpo narrative, I think we need to look at its historical context. The source material puts its origins firmly in the post-World War II era.
Yeah, the timing is significant. You've got rapid technological change happening, the Cold War is kicking off, and there's this noticeable uptick in reported UFO sightings.
Hmm.
So all these factors combined kind of created this environment where the possibility of alien contact, well, it was being considered more openly, at least in certain government and research circles, maybe behind closed doors.
And the material points to early government investigations into UFOs, often, as we said, shrouded in secrecy, which of course only amplified suspicions that something bigger was being hidden.
Exactly. And what's really critical here is the alleged agreement. The source mentions an agreement with an alien species they call the Ebens.
Right, the Ebens from Zeta Reticuli.
Yes. And this agreement purportedly led directly to the exchange program, which implies, well, it implies a level of formal diplomatic engagement that's just extraordinary to think about.
It really is. What kind of protocols, what level of trust would be involved in an agreement between two different species like that?
It makes you wonder. And then just the practicalities.
Yeah.
The source raises all these questions about, okay, how do you actually travel between planets safely? What protocols do you need?
Yeah, the safety measures.
And the sheer cultural adjustment. Sending humans to another planet for, what, 10 years?
Unbelievable. And this brings us back to the psychological side again. The source material really emphasizes how these kinds of encounters could just fundamentally change people's perceptions, their beliefs, challenge their whole understanding of the universe.
Definitely. And the legal questions, they just keep popping up, don't they?
They do.
This idea of alien diplomacy, it really pushes the boundaries of international law as we know it. Existing frameworks are just inadequate. It raises complex issues of sovereignty, rights, accountability across species.
And the media, as we touched on, swinging between genuine inquiry and, well, sometimes outright fiction, shaping how the public understands or maybe misunderstands these claims. Okay, let's dig into the specific objectives of this alleged program. What were they supposedly trying to achieve?
Well, according to the source, a big one was gaining a comprehensive understanding of extraterrestrial societies and cultures. So not just like scientific observation from afar.
Really like deep immersion.
Yeah, it suggests an in-depth exploration of their way of life, their social structures, their values,
Yeah.
trying to really get it.
Right, bridging the gap between two fundamentally different civilizations. And a key part of that, the material points out, was establishing effective communication techniques. Not just cracking their language, but also respecting their cultural nuances, making sure the human team was safe.
And that point about respecting alien cultural nuances, that's noteworthy. It suggests, well, at least within the stated goals, a certain level of foresight, maybe ethical consideration. Makes you wonder what kind of prep would be involved in understanding a completely alien culture.
Absolutely. And naturally, with a program like this, investigating potential technological advancements, that would surely be a high priority.
Oh, for sure. The source hints at the possibility of acquiring revolutionary technology through these exchanges.
Yeah, that ties into a lot of the speculation around alien contact, doesn't it? The potential for breakthroughs in energy, propulsion, materials. It's a powerful motivator in these stories.
It is, but the material also mentions addressing the broader societal implications, like what happens if alien contact becomes public knowledge? How does humanity react? The program supposedly aimed to mitigate potential negative psychological impacts on the public.
That suggests a real awareness of how disruptive this could be. Balancing discovery with societal stability, that's a tricky line to walk.
Very tricky. The psychological impact on the whole planet would be a massive consideration if contact were confirmed.
And let's not forget those persistent conspiracy theories. The source indicates that actually engaging with these theories, trying to sort fact from fiction, that was also an objective.
A tough job.
Yeah, to say the least, because the secrecy itself fuels the theories, right? Makes it incredibly hard to get a clearer picture.
Exactly. And finally, the source stresses the importance of accurate media representation. It seems like a goal was to inform the public responsibly, encourage critical thinking, not just feed the sensationalism machine.
A noble goal. if true. Okay, now the source also explores some hypothetical methods for actually contacting extraterrestrial beings. What does it offer there?
Well, it covers a few bases. The established and the more, let's say, speculative. Obviously, radio waves like SETI uses are mentioned. Makes sense, right? Those signals travel vast distances.
Right, we've basically been shouting into the void for decades with radio and TV. But the source also brings up some more unconventional ideas, like telepathy.
Yeah, psychic phenomena. What's interesting is that it acknowledges witness reports, people claiming they've had telepathic exchanges during alleged encounters.
Not exactly standard science.
No, not scientifically validated in the usual sense. But these accounts, they suggest that maybe advanced communication doesn't always rely on tech as we know it. It kind of opens the door to possibilities beyond our current scientific understanding.
And then there are things like physical artifacts, symbols, crop circles being the classic example. The idea being maybe these are deliberate messages using a kind of universal visual language.
It taps into our human tendency to find patterns, right? The source suggests maybe ETIs use symbolic communication too, something that goes beyond spoken or written words.
And again, we circle back to the psychological impact. The source reminds us any confirmed contact, it could have huge societal effects, a fundamental shift in worldview needing whole new legal framework.
It ripples through everything.
So what about the huge challenge of actually understanding alien languages and communication styles, assuming we make contact?
Right. The source emphasizes just how complex that would be. Alien languages could be as diverse and nuanced as human cultures, maybe even more so.
Makes sense.
And it points out that communication might involve, verbal stuff, but also nonverbal cues, maybe even senses we don't really use for language.
The Serpo program itself supposedly offered some clues here. The material mentions the Ibans using a mix of sound and, visual representations.
Yeah, suggesting a multi-sensory approach.
Yeah.
Maybe incorporating elements human languages just don't have. It really highlights the potential limits of our own understanding of communication.
And the psychological impact on the humans during that first contact? The source suggests it could just be overwhelming, trying to decipher an alien language. The cognitive load would be immense.
Definitely. And whistleblower accounts, the source notes, often talk about the huge difficulties they face trying to decode alien messages. Underscores the massive effort needed.
And the legal side is there too. Alien diplomacy hinges on understanding each other, right? So understanding interspecies communication becomes absolutely critical.
Crucial. Misunderstandings in diplomacy could have really serious consequences. Clear, accurate communication is foundational.
And the media often simplifies this massively. Films show aliens learning English in 5 minutes or using universal translators.
Right. The source points out that's likely far from the reality. Okay, so the material touches on alleged case studies of successful communication, focusing naturally on Project Serpo itself. What can we maybe learn from that purported program?
Well, Project Serpo, according to the source, is presented as this potential case study in successful, albeit alleged, communication. It highlights how initially they relied heavily on nonverbal methods.
Things like gestures, facial expressions, maybe drawings or visual aids.
Exactly. Pretty universal stuff, right? The source suggests those played a vital role in the early interactions, trying to bridge that initial gap.
Makes sense. The importance of those basic forms of expression. You can't overstate it when you have a massive language barrier. It's like finding that first level of common ground.
And apparently, the psychological state of the human team mattered a lot. The source mentions feelings of, awe, but also real trepidation influencing how they communicated.
Yeah, the human element. Strong emotions. They can help or hinder understanding, especially in situations that are totally new and potentially overwhelming.
But it seems, according to the source, that building trust, creating an atmosphere of openness, that was crucial for getting to deeper engagement.
That feels fundamental, doesn't it? A mutual willingness to understand and be understood. That's key for any successful communication, no matter the species involved. Creating that space for exchange.
And the tech aspect is intriguing again. The source mentions reports, again alleged reports, of advanced technology that can maybe translate thoughts or emotions directly.
Wow, that would be a game changer. Bypassing language barriers entirely.
Right. But again, important caveat. The source presents this as alleged tech linked to the Serpo program, not confirmed fact.
Crucial distinction. And as always, the legal side pops up. The Serpo experiences, even as alleged, raise questions about how we'd govern interspecies interactions, the ethics of communication itself.
The very act of talking to another intelligent species.
Yeah, it opens up a whole universe of ethical and legal questions. Intent, consent, misinterpretation. Okay, let's dive deeper into government secrecy. The source gives this a lot of attention. What's the core tension here?
Well, the source paints it as this really delicate balancing act. You've got perceived national security interests on one side,
Ah,
the public's right to know on another, and then just humanity's basic drive to understand the universe. And historically, governments seem to have leaned heavily towards secrecy with UFOs and alleged alien contact.
why is that, according to the source?
The main justification usually given is national security. The potential implications of advanced alien tech, or just knowing their capabilities. That could be seen as a huge risk in a world full of geopolitical tension.
Right, fear of it falling into the wrong hands or upsetting the balance of power. Exactly. And Project Serpo, being allegedly top secret, naturally operated under this strict veil of classification, which severely limited public access to any details.
That secrecy is almost the defining feature of the whole story, isn't it? It's key to the intrigue, but also makes it incredibly hard to verify anything independently.
Precisely. But then you have the whistleblowers. The source highlights them, offering these glimpses into the hidden world, even if they often lack that concrete, corroborating evidence that science demands.
Yeah, they challenge the official silence, but that lack of verification, it's always the sticking point, isn't it?
It is. It's the central point of debate and skepticism.
Yeah.
And the psychological impact of all this secrecy on the public. It's significant. The source suggests it complicates any potential disclosure efforts and can breed widespread distrust.
Well, yeah, if people feel information is being withheld, especially on something that's potentially huge, it naturally leads to suspicion, doesn't it? And the rise of alternative explanations, like conspiracy theories.
And again, the legal side. Alien diplomacy, interplanetary travel. They'd likely need some level of transparency, right? Establish legal frameworks to govern things.
So there's this inherent tension. Secrecy for security versus the need for regulation and public trust. That seems like a major hurdle for navigating any confirmed alien interactions.
A huge hurdle. And the media, as always, is shaping how we perceive the secrecy, sometimes fueling suspicion, sometimes calling for disclosure. Okay, so the source highlights some specific, notable whistleblower accounts related to Serpo. Who are some of the key figures mentioned?
Well, my name's Richard Doty, former Air Force officer,
Right.
known for some pretty controversial claims about government knowledge and alleged manipulation of UFO information.
Right. Doty's a well-known, often debated figure in UFO circles. The source also mentions Philip Corso, his book The Day After Roswell. Huge impact. He claimed involvement in reverse engineering alien tech from the crash.
Corso's account is significant because it directly links Roswell to that idea of technology transfer, which is a central theme in the whole Serpo narrative.
Exactly. And then there's the anonymous DIA employee, the Defense Intelligence Agency. This person reportedly described the actual exchange program to Serpo itself.
Wow, that's a very direct claim, right at the heart of the story.
It is. This anonymous testimony is a crucial piece of the Serpo puzzle, providing alleged first-hand details. Although, of course, the anonymity makes verification, well, difficult.
Naturally. And beyond these individuals, the source mentions collective testimonies. You find them online, in documentaries, often hitting similar themes, government secrecy, ethical dilemmas.
Right. These collective accounts, while hard to verify one by one, they contribute to the overall narrative. They highlight these persistent concerns and beliefs within the UFO community about government actions and potential contact.
And the source doesn't ignore the legal risks these whistleblowers face. Leaking classified info. That's serious business. Plus the complexities of the legal landscape if you're talking alien diplomacy. It's a dangerous path.
Extremely dangerous. So what kind of challenges do these individuals typically face, according to the source?
Well, first off, the source emphasizes a significant fear of retaliation. Threats to their careers, damage to their reputations, even concerns about their physical safety.
That's a heavy weight to carry for speaking out. The source also points to the huge psychological toll it can take. Anxiety, depression, symptoms of PTSD, a profound sense of isolation.
Yeah, imagine carrying that kind of extraordinary information, often in secret, facing disbelief or ridicule. The source is right. The psychological consequences could be severe.
Definitely. And legally, they can get tangled up in complex secrecy laws, face massive financial burdens from legal fights, the constant threat of prosecution.
It's a major, often daunting challenge navigating those legal frameworks around classified information and national security.
And the media portrayal. It could be all over the place, right? Sometimes they're heroes, sometimes they're dismissed as cranks or hoaxers. That can't make it any easier.
No. How their story is framed can hugely impact their credibility with the public, the scrutiny they face.
But the source does underscore the vital importance of a supportive environment. Within the UFO community, finding people who understand, who offer some validation, that can be crucial for whistleblowers who often feel isolated.
Yeah, that community support seems essential. Okay, let's shift gears a bit now to the mechanics of actually traveling between planets. What overview does the source provide?
Well, it covers the basics, different propulsion systems from, our current chemical rockets, maybe ion drives, all the way to theoretical stuff like warp drives or wormholes. It really stresses the immense distances involved. You need something really efficient.
Understanding those basics is key context for any claims about interstellar travel, whether human or ET.
Exactly. And navigation,
Mm.
absolutely crucial. The source mentions things like gravitational assists, planning flight paths meticulously, the complexities of entering orbit, leaving orbit, all vital for hitting your target safely across those huge distances.
Precision is everything in space.
Paramount. The source touches on the sophisticated math and tech required. And it also reminds us about the challenges of space itself. Solar radiation, micrometeoroids hitting the ship. It's a fundamentally hostile place.
Yeah, not exactly welcoming.
No. These hazards really underscore the need for robust spacecraft, advanced shielding, comprehensive safety protocols for any interplanetary trip.
And the relevance of all this to understanding alleged ET travel to Earth is pretty clear, as the source points out. How did they supposedly cross those interstellar gulfs?
By understanding the challenges and potential solutions, we get a better perspective on how feasible those claims of ET visitation actually are.
And safety is huge in any undertaking like this. The source raises critical concerns, potential exposure to unknown pathogens, the psychological effects of long trips and alien contact, even the possibility of hostile encounters.
Any interplanetary travel, especially involving contact with aliens, would demand stringent, well-defined safety protocols to manage the risks.
And then there's that tantalizing prospect, mentioned in the source again, technology transfer potentially revolutionizing human space travel. Imagine if we learned their propulsion secrets.
If advanced propulsion or other key space tech were shared, or even just understood through observation, yeah, it could dramatically accelerate our ability to explore the cosmos, maybe even colonize.
And of course, the psychological impact. Venturing so far from Earth, potentially meeting aliens. The source emphasizes it's not just a physical journey, it's profoundly psychological too.
Absolutely. We already researched the psychological toll of long space flights. Add first contact with aliens. That introduces a whole new level of psychological complexity and challenge for anyone involved. Now, what specific safety protocols for human-alien interaction does the source discuss?
Okay, it emphasizes the critical priority of accurately identifying and assessing any alien species encountered, like understanding their basic biology and physiology. You'd need to know their nature to ensure safety.
That initial assessment, absolutely crucial. Understanding potential risks, biological incompatibility, maybe harmful environmental needs essential for human safety.
And analyzing their environment and technology for compatibility with this. You can't just assume their air is breathable or their tech is safe for humans to be around.
Right. Ensuring compatibility with alien atmospheres, gravity, understanding how their tech works safely, vital for survival and interaction.
The source also mentions needing robust containment and emergency procedures. Basically, having backup plans for your backup plans in such an unprecedented situation. Always wise.
Having clear, well-rehearsed emergency protocols would be essential for handling any crisis that might pop up during an alien encounter.
And psychological safety protocols are just as important. Providing support systems, counseling, emotional resilience training for people involved in these potentially overwhelming experiences.
The mental and emotional well-being of participants has to be a top priority. Robust support structures are a must.
The legal implications come up here, too. The source mentions needing to define rights and responsibilities for both humans and aliens, establishing reporting protocols for incidents, maybe even international agreements governing these interactions. It's a whole new legal world.
Yeah, creating a comprehensive legal framework for alien interaction. Complex, but absolutely necessary to ensure accountability and prevent misunderstandings.
And finally, the source stresses cultural sensitivity protocols, understanding alien customs, languages, communication styles, avoiding accidental offense that could have, interstellar repercussions.
Respecting alien cultures, understanding how they communicate, fundamental for building positive relationships and preventing unintended conflict. Okay, according to the source, what kind of specialized training would interplanetary travelers, especially those in the alleged Serpo program, have needed?
Well, the source highlights intensive training in alien communication techniques as a primary focus. Not just verbal language, but nonverbal cues, maybe auditory signals beyond our hearing, even potential telepathic communication, a whole new kind of language learning.
That suggests a really comprehensive, multifaceted approach to bridging the communication gap, going way beyond traditional language classes.
Linguistic studies, extensive simulations of potential alien languages. That would have been crucial, according to the source, developing at least a basic ability to understand and be understood.
Preparing people for the complexities of alien languages through realistic simulations? Yeah, that would be invaluable prep.
And as you'd expect, rigorous safety protocols were a big part of the training. Emergency drills, mastering life support in alien conditions, understanding how alien atmospheres affect humans, survival training on a whole different level.
Equipping travelers with the practical skills and knowledge to survive and operate effectively in alien environments. Paramount importance.
Psychological training is also emphasized, preparing them for the profound emotional and cognitive challenges, providing ongoing support systems for their mental well-being. It's a mental marathon as much as a physical one.
Preparing people for the potential stressors, the sheer novelty of alien contact, essential for their well-being and the mission's success.
And even understanding the potential legal implications of alien diplomacy treaties, ethics, rights of both species, that was reportedly part of their training too. They'd need to know the theoretical interstellar rules of engagement.
Familiarizing travelers with the potential legal and ethical considerations.
Yeah.
Yeah, that helps ensure responsible and informed conduct during the exchange. Now, let's explore what the source material reveals about understanding alien societies themselves. What are some key aspects?
Well, the source stresses that really understanding them requires us to, step outside our human perspective, consider their cultural, social, technological dimensions, which could be structured in ways totally alien to us.
Yeah, it highlights the need for intellectual humility, right? Being open to societal structures and values that might be radically different from Earth's.
Communication techniques, again, are central. The source mentions possibilities like telepathy, intricate visual cues, even bioluminescent signals as potential ways they might communicate within their societies.
Suggests language and communication could manifest in forms we haven't even really explored or imagined among humans.
But government secrecy, as we keep saying, casts that long shadow. It complicates our understanding. The source reminds us a lot of what we might learn gets filtered through classification, maybe misinformation.
That lack of transparency around alleged contact, it's a huge barrier to really understanding alien societies and their interactions with us.
Their interplanetary travel methods and the advanced tech they use, that can also offer big insights, according to the source. Insights into their priorities, their scientific level, their capabilities.
Right. How they cross interstellar space could reveal fundamental breakthroughs in physics, maybe even manipulation of space-time itself.
And the potential psychological impact of encounters with alien societies, not just on the participants, but on human society as a whole, that needs careful consideration when trying to understand them. How might their existence change our civilization?
The very confirmation of another intelligent species. Yeah, that could have profound, far-reaching psychological and sociological effects on the collective human consciousness.
And the media's portrayal, with its biases and sensationalism, shapes our perception of what these societies might be like, often blurring reality and fiction. Now, the source delves into specific cultural practices of extraterrestrials. What examples does it suggest?
Well, it suggests some alien societies might value collective well-being and harmony more than the individualism common in many human societies, potentially leading to more focus on cooperation, shared resources.
That's a fascinating contrast. The source also mentions potential for unique community practices, rituals, ceremonies that could reinforce their social bonds and shared values.
Understanding those communal practices could offer valuable insights into the principles that hold their societies together.
And again, communication techniques beyond just words telepathy, complex visual cues, bioelectrical signals highlighted as potential integral parts of their culture and social interactions.
These more advanced communication forms could suggest a highly interconnected, maybe more empathetic society, where understanding goes beyond simple spoken language.
The psychological impact on humans encountering these practices. The source notes possibilities like feelings of peace, acceptance, a sense of connection. Potentially an optimistic view of interspecies relations.
suggests some alien cultures might have achieved a level of social harmony or emotional intelligence that could offer valuable lessons for us.
But then there are the inevitable legal implications of diplomacy and cultural exchange, navigating different negotiation styles, understanding their conflict resolution methods, respecting their cultural norms and legal interactions, all essential.
Engaging diplomatically with a species having vastly different cultural norms and legal traditions, yeah, that would require huge sensitivity, preparation, and a deep understanding of their practices. Now, how does the source suggest alien cultures might ultimately impact human perception, our understanding of ourselves?
Well, it proposes our perspectives on technology, on advancement itself, could be fundamentally altered, potentially inspiring new ideas, pushing the boundaries of what we think is possible.
Encountering a civilization with far superior technology.
Yeah. Yeah, that could revolutionize our science and engineering, open up possibilities we haven't even dreamed of.
And the psychological impact on our behavior, our core beliefs,
Hmm.
could be immense, leading to a fundamental reevaluation of reality, our place in the cosmos, the meaning of existence.
The confirmation of other intelligent species. It could challenge many of our deepest assumptions about the universe, humanity's uniqueness, our place in the grand scheme.
The secrecy surrounding alleged encounters, as we've discussed, fosters distrust and demands for disclosure, further shaping our collective perception.
Government secrecy on this topic breeds suspicion, erodes trust, and fuels that persistent desire for transparency. And the media's portrayal, for better or worse, significantly influences how we interpret these potential impacts, often blurring credible info with speculative narratives. Now, the source delves into the specific psychological effects on individuals reportedly involved in Project Serpo. What range of emotions did they supposedly deal with?
The source indicates a wide spectrum: intense emotions, profound fear, overwhelming awe, deep confusion, as they tried to process the sheer extraordinariness of it all.
Totally understandable. An immense psychological load. The source also mentions significant, often radical shifts in their fundamental worldview, altering their understanding of reality itself.
Such profoundly unusual experiences, yeah, they could lead to a fundamental reevaluation of one's core beliefs, values, understanding of the universe.
And tragically, the source notes the potential for severe negative consequences. PTSD, significant anxiety, clinical depression in those affected by these alleged events.
Dealing with such unprecedented, potentially traumatic experiences, especially under secrecy and facing disbelief,
Yeah.
yeah, it could have significant, lasting negative impacts on mental health.
The profound sense of isolation from people who haven't shared such experiences or who are dismissive, that's another deeply concerning consequence highlighted, carrying that incredible secret alone.
Feeling alienated, profoundly misunderstood, incredibly isolating, and emotionally damaging.
The source also points to the immense struggle many faced trying to reintegrate into normal society afterwards. How do you go back to everyday life after something that defies conventional understanding?
Readjusting to perceived normalcy after such a potentially life-altering, worldview-shattering experience
Yeah.
undoubtedly presents immense challenges.
And the potential for groupthink within communities of experiencers. The source cautions against that. Support is important, but maintaining critical perspective is too.
Right. That natural desire for acceptance within a group sharing similar experiences can sometimes inadvertently lessen critical examination of shared beliefs.
And the pervasive impact of government secrecy on trust, coupled with the overwhelming nature of conspiracy theories, that just adds to the psychological burden on these individuals. Now, what specific coping mechanisms for these kinds of extraordinary experiences does the source discuss?
It emphasizes establishing strong support networks, connecting with others who have similar experiences, researchers, finding a community open to understanding and validation.
Absolutely. Having people who can relate or at least listen without judgment, that can make a huge difference. The source also suggests the value of journaling, a private outlet to articulate and process these intense, hard-to-explain events.
Writing things down, yeah, can be a valuable tool for processing and trying to make sense of profoundly unusual, potentially traumatic experiences.
Engaging in research and education related to the phenomena is another coping mechanism suggested. Gaining knowledge and context can be empowering, help people feel less alone.
Learning more about the broader context of UFO phenomena and research can help individuals feel more informed, less isolated, maybe validate parts of their own experiences.
And finally, the source recommends mindfulness techniques and consistent self-care practices, essential tools for managing the anxiety, stress, potential trauma associated with these encounters.
Prioritizing mental and emotional well-being through conscious self-care, stress reduction, crucial for coping with the psychological aftermath. Now, what does the source suggest are some potential long-term effects of alien contact, specifically related to the Serpo narrative?
Well, it points to potential for significant technological advancement from knowledge exchange, breakthroughs in energy, transportation, communication.
The acquisition and understanding of advanced alien tech could indeed lead to rapid progress, potentially solving some of humanity's biggest challenges.
But there's also the long-term psychological impact on our collective worldview, potential for widespread cognitive dissonance as we reconcile existing beliefs with the implications of alien contact.
Integrating the reality of alien life into our existing belief systems could be a lengthy, potentially disruptive process for individuals and society.
Shifts in social dynamics, cultural norms, another potential long-term consequence. How might our societies reorganize in response to confirmed alien presence?
Widespread acknowledgement of alien life could lead to significant transformations in social structures, values, cultural practices globally.
And the legal implications for governing interspecies relationships, new diplomatic protocols, ethics of tech transfer, establishing rights for all sentient beings, long-term issues humanity would have to grapple with.
Establishing comprehensive legal and ethical frameworks for interacting with ETs would be an ongoing, evolving process, requiring international cooperation, maybe even interspecies dialogue.
And as always, the media's pervasive influence in shaping public understanding, belief systems, and long-term societal responses will have lasting consequences. Now, let's delve into the overview of technology exchange specifically related to the alleged Serpo program, as discussed in the source. What's the central idea?
The core concept, according to the source, is a reciprocal exchange, sharing knowledge and tech between humanity and the Evans. Not just us getting alien tech.
Right, a two-way street, reportedly. The source emphasizes that alien civilizations likely possess scientific understanding far exceeding our current comprehension.
Highlights the immense potential for significant leaps in human progress through such an exchange, unlocking advancements we can currently only dream of.
And the Serpo program allegedly involves sharing specific advanced tech propulsion systems, defying current physics, revolutionary energy generation, sophisticated interstellar communication devices. Truly game-changing stuff.
If those reports are accurate, these specific technologies exchanged could revolutionize multiple fundamental aspects of human civilization and our relationship with the universe.
The psychological impact on human perception, our beliefs about what's scientifically possible, would also be profound, shattering existing paradigms, opening new ways of thinking.
Encountering evidence of such advanced tech could fundamentally alter our understanding of physics, the nature of reality, expanding our scientific horizons exponentially.
And the legal implications. Complex, as always, ownership of this knowledge, rights of participants, government responsibilities in managing and maybe sharing this tech. A significant legal and ethical puzzle.
Establishing clear legal frameworks for ownership, responsible use, potential dissemination of alien tech. A complex, critically important undertaking with far-reaching consequences.
And media portrayal, from utopia to dystopia, shapes public perception and belief about these potential tech possibilities. Now, the source gives some historical examples of tech transfer on Earth, some with speculative links to alleged alien contact. What are those?
Well, it mentions the rapid advancements in rocketry and jet propulsion post-WWII, suggesting a possible, though speculative, influence from recovered alien tech, particularly Roswell.
Right, Roswell and the persistent claims of recovered materials being reverse engineered. A frequent example, though definitive proof of an alien link remains elusive.
The claim is that studying these unusual materials led to breakthroughs, although concrete public evidence linking them directly to aliens is still lacking.
The innovations from the Apollo program are also brought up. Some speculate about indirect influence, maybe subtle assistance. Intriguing, though highly debated.
While Apollo's achievements were mainly human ingenuity, some proponents suggest underlying concepts or subtle guidance might have had ET origins.
And even the development of the internet gets a mention, with some very speculative links to concepts of interstellar communication. That feels like a stretch, but it shows how the idea permeates our thinking.
More theoretical, suggesting contemplating communication across cosmic distances might have indirectly influenced developing rapid long-distance tech here.
And the cultural impact of these examples, real alien link or not, is significant in shaping how we see tech progress and potential alien contact in media. Now, considering the Serpo narrative, what potential implications for human advancement does the source highlight?
Well, it suggests potential for dramatically accelerated technological development, which could lead to solutions for critical global challenges, Climate change, resource scarcity, disease? That's a hopeful view.
Absolutely. Imagine clean energy, advanced environmental tech. The source also mentions a potential fundamental shift in human self-perception, fostering greater global unity facing a shared cosmic reality.
Could lead to a greater sense of shared identity, purpose among humanity, transcending borders in recognition of a larger cosmic community.
And the re-examination and evolution of our legal frameworks for interplanetary treaties, rights of non-human intelligence, that would become absolutely necessary.
Current international law would need significant revisions and expansions to effectively address the unique legal and ethical considerations of interacting with ETs.
Cultural exchange could also inspire novel approaches to our own societal issues, governance, social organization, community building.
Learning from potentially more advanced or just different societal structures and values could offer valuable insights for tackling humanity's own challenges.
And as we've consistently discussed, the responsible role of the media in shaping public perception and fostering informed discussions will be absolutely crucial for navigating these potential advancements and impacts. Now, the source explores the current state of international law regarding extraterrestrial relations. What's the framework?
It's described as very early stage, largely based on treaties like the Outer Space Treaty of 1967, which emphasizes space as the province of all mankind, not subject to national appropriation.
So basic principles for nations in space, but nothing specific about alien beings or their rights. The source points out that lack of specific laws for dealing with ET life and tech.
This significant legal vacuum creates a lot of uncertainty, highlights the urgent need for future development of international legal norms in this, well, previously theoretical area.
And there are valid concerns raised about accountability and sovereignty regarding alleged clandestine programs like Serpo, given the absence of clear legal guidelines.
The secretive nature and existence of programs like Serpo, if real, raise serious questions about oversight, adherence to law, potential breaches of national and international law.
The source also underscores the critical need to adapt existing diplomatic practices and treaty concepts for the unique challenges of alien communication and negotiation. We can't just use our human-centric models.
Interacting with a species with vastly different communication, society, governance, would necessitate entirely new adaptable approaches to diplomacy and treaty negotiation.
And the legal challenges around potential tech transfer, intellectual property, safety, regulating dissemination complex issues, demanding careful legal consideration.
Establishing clear legal frameworks for ownership, responsible use, managing transfer of potentially revolutionary alien tech. A significant, multifaceted legal undertaking.
The source also suggests the unique psychological impact of encountering alien life might require specific legal protections for individuals who experience contact.
Recognizing potential psychological effects within the legal framework, providing resources and protections for affected individuals, an important ethical and legal consideration.
And the media, once again, plays a vital role in shaping public understanding of these legal complexities and influencing future policy development in this nascent field. Now, the source delves into the ethical considerations in alien diplomacy, particularly regarding Serpo. What are the key principles?
It emphasizes the paramount importance of informed consent, proper representation of humanity, and carefully considering potential long-term consequences of any engagement with alien life.
Just like between human societies, genuine consent is fundamental. And who truly represents humanity in these potential interstellar talks? That's a critical question. The source stresses needing clear ethical guidelines to prevent exploitation, ensure mutual respect. We can't just impose our ethics.
Establishing a robust set of ethical principles from the start is crucial for fair, equitable, mutually beneficial interactions, preventing harm or exploitation.
The specific issue of informed consent from both humans and ETs involved is raised. Do all parties truly understand the risks and benefits of such an unprecedented exchange?
Ensuring everyone involved has a full, accurate understanding of potential risks, benefits, long-term implications, a fundamental ethical imperative.
Proper representation is key too. How do we accurately portray human diversity perspectives, values, cultures when engaging with aliens? Who speaks for Earth?
Presenting a unified, genuinely representative view of humanity, acknowledging our internal diversity, a significant diplomatic and ethical challenge.
The source also emphasizes considering the psychological impact on both human and alien participants, providing adequate support systems for potential mental health challenges. It's not just about the physical contact.
Recognizing and addressing the potential psychological and emotional well-being of all parties involved, a crucial ethical responsibility.
And the legal implications, liability for unforeseen consequences, accountability, ethical dimensions of tech transfer are all tied into these broader ethical considerations. Now, looking ahead, what kind of future legal frameworks for alien interactions does the source suggest might be needed?
It suggests a clear need for international law to evolve significantly beyond its current scope, to effectively address the unique challenges and complexities of interacting with ET intelligence.
We'd likely need to define the legal status of ET beings themselves. Are they individuals, sovereign entities, something else under a new system of universal law? And what fundamental rights would they have?
Establishing the legal standing and fundamental rights of ET entities will be a foundational step in creating a just, workable legal framework for interspecies relations.
Developing universally understood protocols for communication, negotiation, maybe even a foundational universal language for legal and diplomatic interactions might become necessary.
Facilitating clear, unambiguous, mutually understood communication would be essential for effective diplomatic and legal interactions across species.
Legal frameworks for intellectual property rights in tech exchanges would be crucial to prevent disputes, encourage collaboration, and knowledge sharing.
Establishing fair, equitable legal mechanisms for protecting IP rights in tech exchanges. Vital for fostering trust and encouraging continued cooperation.
The source also suggests future legal frameworks should include measures for mental health support for individuals experiencing contact, acknowledging the potential psychological impact.
Recognizing potential psychological effects within the legal framework, providing access to appropriate mental health support, a necessary component of a comprehensive legal response.
And finally, addressing safety protocols for interplanetary travel, establishing clear liability in case of accidents or unforeseen incidents, essential for minimizing risks and ensuring accountability. Now, the source touches on the intriguing possibility of ancient civilizations having had contact with ET life. What points does it raise?
Well, it points to various ancient artifacts, enigmatic texts, monumental structures, pyramids, Nazca lines, Machu Picchu, as potential evidence fueling speculation about advanced knowledge or even direct contact in our distant past.
These are enduring mysteries, right? Captivated people for centuries, prompting countless theories. The source also mentions the ancient Sumerians and their accounts of the Anunnaki beings from the heavens imparting wisdom and tech to early humans.
These ancient myths from Mesopotamia, they do bear some intriguing similarities to modern UFO narratives, claims of alien intervention, leading some to hypothesize about historical ET encounters.
And the ancient Vedic scriptures from India describing flying machines called vimanas, detailing what seems like advanced tech, brought up as another compelling example. Ancient texts describing aerial vehicles. Definitely thought-provoking.
These texts do suggest a level of technological understanding that seems to exceed what's traditionally attributed to those periods, leading some researchers to consider possible ET influence or knowledge transfer.
The source rightly notes these accounts, if taken seriously, challenge conventional historical narratives, our understanding of human tech development. If alien contact happened way back when, it means rewriting the history books.
Rethinking our understanding of history in light of potential ancient alien contact could lead to a far more comprehensive, nuanced perspective on human civilization's development.
And the source draws a compelling parallel to modern discussions around government secrecy and whistleblowers. If contact happened throughout history, maybe it suggests a long pattern of concealment, a reason for the persistent secrecy we see today. Now, the source shifts focus to notable modern encounters, again emphasizing Project Serpo. Key aspects highlighted.
The alleged exchange program with the Zeta Reticuli civilization in the early 1960s, that's central to the modern Serpo narrative, the claim. 12 U.S. military personnel sent to planet Serpo as a diplomatic effort. An extraordinary claim.
That's the core of the contemporary story. The source mentions eyewitness testimonies, purported declassified government documents sparking ongoing discussions, though their authenticity and interpretation are often contested.
These fragmented pieces of info, while far from conclusive proof, continue to fuel intense debate and speculation around the alleged Serpo program.
The source also notes the numerous whistleblower accounts emerging over the years, detailing alleged program aspects, logistics, psychological impact, communication methods. These personal stories add a human dimension.
These first-hand accounts, if credible, offer potentially valuable insights into the alleged inner workings, providing a more personal perspective on these extraordinary events.
And as we've discussed, government secrecy surrounding these alleged events is a persistent theme, inevitably leading to various conspiracy theories trying to explain the perceived silence.
The highly secretive nature, lack of official acknowledgement, almost inevitably leads to alternative explanations, interpretations, conspiracy theories.
The source also brings up the enduring legal implications of engaging in alien diplomacy, the fundamental need for ethical treatment of both human and non-human participants, even in alleged programs.
Ethical and legal considerations remain critically important, even when discussing alleged historical or ongoing programs shrouded in secrecy.
And the media's pervasive role in shaping public perception, often blurring fact and fiction, is a constant factor in how these modern encounters, particularly Serpo, are understood and debated. Now, the source examines the concept of documented evidence of these interactions, specifically regarding Serpo. What types of evidence are cited?
Primarily, whistleblower testimonies, like accounts of a purported military whistleblower describing even contact. That's presented as a primary form of documented evidence, though reliability and veracity are frequently debated.
While personal accounts exist, their subjective nature, difficulty in independent verification, often raises questions about reliability as definitive proof. The source also mentions declassified government documents some believe hint at official engagement with aliens, though often heavily redacted or open to interpretation.
These government docs often contain ambiguous or cryptic references, needing significant interpretation, usable to support differing conclusions, making them less than definitive proof for many.
The source notes cryptic references within these docs to alleged meetings, descriptions of alien tech, even outlines of interaction protocols, suggesting something unusual might have been happening behind the scenes, even if specifics remain unclear.
These subtle hints, veiled references in official docs, can be intriguing, suggestive, but rarely provide clear, unambiguous evidence definitively confirming alien interaction.
The source also presents the psychological impact on individuals claiming contact, profound life changes, beliefs, worldview shifts as a form of evidence, suggesting such transformations might indicate a genuine, life-altering encounter.
While these personal transformations can be deeply significant for the individuals, they're inherently subjective, influenced by many factors, making them hard to objectively verify as evidence of external alien contact.
And as we keep saying, media representation often blurs fact and fiction, further complicating the search for an interpretation of any potential documented evidence. Now, the source turns to analyzing films and documentaries relevant to Serpo. What about the power of these visual mediums?
The source underscores the significant power of visuals, film, documentary in shaping public perception, influencing beliefs, fostering a particular understanding of alien encounters.
Yes, seeing is believing often holds true, even if it's dramatization or curated info. Documentaries presenting purported evidence featuring alleged whistleblowers can be particularly influential.
These films often use compelling storytelling, visual presentations of alleged evidence, expert testimony to try and persuade viewers of alien contact reality, government cover-ups.
However, the source also points out that fictional films, even unintentionally, can tap into and amplify existing societal fears and fascinations about the unknown, potentially reinforcing conspiracy theories.
Sci-fi films frequently explore our collective anxieties, curiosities about ET life. These fictional portrayals can inadvertently influence how we interpret real-world claims.
How ET societies and their intentions are portrayed, that can significantly shape our understanding and expectations of potential interactions. Benevolent, hostile, motivations beyond comprehension.
These fictional depictions create strong preconceived notions, biases about ET nature and behavior, influencing interpretation of actual claims and encounters.
Therefore, the source rightly stresses the critical importance of careful, critical evaluation when consuming these visuals, actively distinguishing factual evidence, expert analysis from purely speculative or fictional elements. Now, what role does the source attribute to the broader media landscape in shaping public perception of alien encounters, especially regarding Serpo?
The source identifies mainstream media as the primary info source for most people on this topic, giving it significant influence in shaping popular understanding of belief.
For most people, their understanding of UFOs comes from news, TV, online articles. So how stories are framed, the emphasis given, absolutely crucial. Media can bolster or undermine perceived credibility of claims, tech advancements, government involvement.
How media presents these elements, skepticism, open inquiry, sensationalism profoundly impacts public opinion, credence given to different narratives.
The framing really dictates whether the public approaches it rationally or with bias. Are encounters legitimate mysteries for science or outlandish sci-fi tales?
The specific narrative framework used can significantly shape public perception, influence willingness to believe or remain skeptical of extraordinary claims.
The source also highlights the delicate balance or often imbalance between entertainment value and commitment to factual accuracy in media portrayals. Sensationalism often wins over measured reporting.
That inherent need to attract audiences can sometimes lead to overemphasis on sensationalism, speculation at the expense of verified info, balanced perspectives.
The source specifically points out media portrayals' significant influence on the psychological impact of these narratives, public willingness to question official accounts. Media can reassure or agitate anxieties.
Media coverage can either alleviate anxieties, promote rational discourse, or conversely, exacerbate fears, encourage greater skepticism towards official explanations.
And the source observes the legal implications of encounters in programs like Serpo are often underexplored in mainstream media, which tends to focus on sensational or anecdotal aspects. Now, how does the source view social media's impact on alien narratives like Serpo?
Social media provides an unprecedented platform for widespread sharing info, theories, personal experiences, effectively democratizing information flow, challenging traditional media gatekeepers.
Yeah, it's not just established news controlling the narrative anymore. Individuals can directly share accounts, interpretations, reaching a global audience. The source suggests this challenges established narratives, offers alternative viewpoints.
Social media allows a multitude of perspectives, interpretations to gain traction, sometimes bypassing traditional editorial processes, fact-checking.
The rapid, often unchecked circulation of news and evidence, verified or not, is a defining characteristic of social media's impact here.
The sheer speed information, accurate or inaccurate, spreads across social media, can quickly shape public discussion, influence belief formation.
Social media also facilitates niche online communities, like those focused specifically on Project Serpo. People with shared interests connect, share info, explore theories together.
These online communities foster strong belonging, provide space for in-depth discussions, sharing personal experiences among those interested.
And the source notes social media can amplify mainstream media representation's reach and influence, further shaping how individuals interpret films, documentaries, news about alien encounters.
The conversations, analyses, critiques on social media significantly influence how individuals understand, interpret, react to media portrayals of alien contact. Now, the source gives an overview of popular conspiracy theories, with Project Serpo prominent. Central tenets.
Well, Project Serpo itself, the secret exchange program, is a core element of many UFO conspiracy theories, positing a sustained effort to hide this interaction.
And the broader idea of ongoing government cover-ups of alien existence generally, often citing Roswell, the Phoenix Lights, as key examples of concealed encounters, recurring theme.
These well-known events, often cited as prime examples in a larger narrative of systematic government denial, suppression of UFO info.
The source also notes how the psychological impact of such profound knowledge is often invoked, suggesting governments might be preventing panic, societal upheaval by keeping the truth hidden.
That rationale suggests authorities believe the public isn't ready, justifying secrecy.
And the persistent notion of secret technology transfers from ET sources, allegedly concealed for military or economic advantage, another popular enduring element.
Belief that humanity secretly got and uses advanced alien tech without public knowledge, a recurring theme in numerous UFO conspiracy narratives.
And as we've discussed, media's role in shaping these narratives, sometimes blending fact and fiction, significantly contributes to these theories' allure and spread. Now, what guidance does this source offer on critically analyzing the credibility of these extraordinary claims, including Serpo?
It strongly emphasizes needing meticulous, thorough examination of all sources and evidence, urging a consistently critical questioning approach to all claims, no matter how compelling initially.
Crucial to avoid simply accepting info at face value, especially with extraordinary assertions. The source highlights scrutinizing eyewitness testimonies for subjectivity, bias, fallibility of memory.
Personal accounts, while potentially valuable, need evaluation considering biases, emotional state, time passage distorting memory.
We also need to carefully evaluate motivations, potential agendas behind leaked documents, whistleblower accounts. Are they credible? What might they gain or lose?
Understanding background, biases, motivations of info providers, especially in controversial areas, essential for balanced reliability assessment.
Assessing scientific plausibility of claims, especially radical tech transfers, defying current physics, another crucial step. Does the science support the assertions?
Claims of revolutionary tech, especially contradicting established science, need healthy skepticism. evaluation against current understanding.
And, as we've repeatedly emphasized, cultivating a consistently critical approach to all media narratives, news, documentaries, forums essential for discerning credible info from speculation or fabrication. Now, the source concludes by examining skepticism's important role within the UFO community, especially regarding narratives like Serpo. What key function does skepticism serve?
The source highlights skepticism as a vital, necessary balancing force, encouraging critical thinking, rigorous analysis, healthy questioning of extraordinary claims, crucial in preventing uncritical acceptance of every purported encounter.
Act as essential counterweight to pure belief, unsubstantiated enthusiasm. Skepticism encourages thorough questioning of evidence, validity, source credibility, especially in complex, often evidence-poor narratives like Serpo.
A robust, healthy skepticism prompts deeper, more thorough evidence examination, encourages more objective, dispassionate assessment of claims.
It also fosters more constructive dialogue between believers and skeptics, potentially leading to more nuanced, comprehensive understanding of the issues.
Engaging with skeptical viewpoints can actually strengthen believers' arguments by forcing them to address weaknesses, seek more robust supporting evidence.
One key role, according to the source, is elevating standards of proof for extraordinary claims. For something potentially world-changing like alien contact, the burden of proof must be exceptionally high.
Extraordinary claims demand extraordinary evidence. A skeptical mindset helps ensure this fundamental scientific principle is maintained in UFO research.
Skepticism also actively encourages researchers, enthusiasts, to diligently seek corroborating evidence from multiple independent sources, not relying solely on anecdotes or single, unverified info pieces.
Relying on multiple independent lines of evidence converging significantly strengthens claim credibility, especially in a field prone to speculation.
And finally, the source suggests skepticism plays a valuable role in objectively evaluating historical accounts, complex psychological impacts of alleged encounters, ensuring a more balanced, less emotionally driven perspective.
A skeptical approach encourages critical examination of past events, helps account for various psychological factors influencing interpretations, recollections.
Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into the intricate and often perplexing world of the alleged Project Serpo. We've drawn primarily from the information presented in the Project Serpo Exchange Program source material you provided.
It's undeniably a complex topic, isn't it? Enigmatic, a fascinating tapestry woven from reported facts, a lot of persistent speculation, and, well, a multitude of unanswered questions.
Definitely. As you asked, we've really tried to extract the most compelling and significant nuggets of information from the source, aiming to give you that shortcut to being well-informed on this topic without hopefully overwhelming you with the sheer volume of contradictory claims and counterclaims out there.
Exactly. So here's a final thought-provoking question for you to mull over. What if? What if even a fraction of the extraordinary claims surrounding Project Serpo were actually true? What profound implications would that have for our fundamental understanding of our place in the cosmos, for the often murky nature of government secrecy, and for the potentially transformative future of interplanetary relations?
Yeah. That's certainly a lot to contemplate.